What's your most controversial opinion about romantic relationships?
My partners, if you don't like the smell of their sweat, y'all are not meant to be.
Marriage is not a requirement. Children are not a requirement. Relationships, all of them, require effort and, yes, sometimes concessions. Love is a complex thing that happens in the brain. It can come and go. That's perfectly okay, but it only works in regards to a relationship if you are willing to foster love every day. You do not have to share interests, sex, love, and there is no normal amount of physical intimacy. That's between you and your pace. You do not have to always agree. It's okay to still have alone time. In fact, it's really important. Expect less, give more. It's okay to go to couples therapy, even in the good times.
Been married 14 years and I don't see that ending. In dating, if you are not in too deep and something feels off, just cut and run. For the commitment side, put your significant other before yourself. Maybe not all the time, but at least once a day. And don't make a big deal of it. Just do something nice for them. The little things matter a lot.
Love is not enough. Not even if it's intense and deep and true. It will ultimately not make up for incompatible personalities, goals, and lifestyles. If you want the relationship to last, you need love and compatibility.
No two people are actually compatible. The only way relationships actually work is if two people respect each other enough to continue working on it.
My time to shine. I don't believe in love at first sight. I believe in attraction at first sight, but I think that you really need to have a long-term connection with someone to love them. I don't believe in soulmates. I think someone can be happy and compatible with a lot of different people instead of just one person. I think if you want to get married, money should be a factor as the person you're interested in, or do you have debt, a gambling addiction, a stable income, etc. That I love you isn't a promise.
Hot take here, IK. But APPEARANTLY. People don't agree with this. Romance does not mean sex. You can be in a romantic relationship and not have sex. And if it is so important to you that you have sex, ask your partner if you can have hall passes.
I have 5. 1. Your partner is going to be attracted to other people. And so are you. This is normal. It doesn't necessarily mean your partner will cheat on you. Or you on them. Just respect each other, and don't do anything behind each other's backs. 2. You can't change them. Nobody can change anyone. They have to want to change for themselves. Accept them as they are, not who you want them to be. And then, decide if who they are works well enough with who you are to continue dating. 3. Just because you never fight doesn't mean you have unresolved issues. Some people just hate arguing, so they don't. Doesn't make them a pushover. 4. You aren't always on their mind, and they aren't always on yours. You are 2 independent, grown adults who have your own lives. Do your own thing, let your partner do theirs. This is not endorsing cheating, and I recognize it doesn't totally apply to married people, and remember who you're coming home to. 5. Probably the most important thing, you don't need to be in a romantic relationship in order to be happy, or to be a complete person. F. What society tries to tell you.
For most relationships, love is not a constant. It waxes and wanes throughout a relationship, from blissful romance to deep hatred.
Everyone should feel heartbreak once in their life. Couples therapy, no matter how good your relationship is.
I won't get married without prenup. The person you're most passionate with is probably not going to be the person you end up with, and that's probably better for both of you in the long run.
It's better if you were friends before, or at least know each other a bit before dating. Cheating is a complete deal-breaker regardless of the circumstances. Getting married is the biggest waste of money.
Divorced people give the worst marriage advice, followed by unmarried people, long-term commitment people, and finally, the perpetually single.
That people, especially men, actively present themselves as different than they really are. They go out of their way to look not cheap, ambitious, appear to like oral sex, generous, compatible libido, adventurous eaters, travel, etc. Dating lies, I call them. It usually lasts about a year. Then most people can't keep up the charade.
Stop seeking them out. LMAO. Let shit happen naturally as you come to like someone. If you're worrying about searching for someone and wanting to find someone now, then something's wrong. LOL. Become comfortable with yourself, being by yourself, enjoying your own thoughts and company, and stop yearning for a relationship, being distracted by the thoughts of getting one, and becoming bummed out whenever you can't. If you can achieve those things above, you won't even be stressing. You'll just find yourself in a happy and fun mood whenever you realize you like someone and could consider furthering your relationship with them. And if you're going a really long time without finding anyone like that, congratulations, you won't actually care because you've already become genuinely happy with just yourself. No stresses. Stop seeking out relationships, you hapless fucks. LMAO.
You shouldn't be having big fucking arguments in the first months when you're still getting to know the other and still in the honeymoon phase. And by big arguments, I'm talking about the drama, not small misunderstanding.
Also, you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy.
Every relationship has a power balance. One person will always have more power in the relationship than the other. Either because one loves the other more, is afraid of being alone more, is financially dependent on the other, or simply more independent than the other. It may change over time. The balance may become close after a long marriage. It doesn't matter, the power imbalance is always tilted in one person's favor.
Getting relationship advice from is dumb and it's childish to post all your relationship problems online. Commenters have a tendency to project their own relationship problems onto other people's situations when it's not the case. The situation is always one-sided, which isn't fair to the person you're in a relationship with. I have seen people flippantly tell the person posting to break their 20-year marriage over something that could be worked out with simple communication. It's not the place you should be going to as a referee for the relationship. You should see a couples counselor where both sides of the story are heard.
Ultimately, a romantic relationship is two people psychologically projecting their needs onto each other.
If you don't have that initial intense attraction, it's never gonna be there.
Someone will always be longing.
Dump early and often. The world is filled with people who are either abusive or just plain incompatible. You are only going to be happy with a small subset of the people you date, and if you're honest, you can tell pretty damn quickly. Most people refuse to believe this simple fact, and keep trying to make a dead-end relationship work. That's a waste of your precious time. You will never find a truly excellent partner as long as you insist on clinging to a rotten one. Also, I strongly believe in having sex early, before you fall in love, and being very honest with yourself about the chemistry. So many people can't accept that sexual compatibility is crucial to a happy romantic relationship.
Sleeping in separate beds is completely fine, especially when you have completely different sleep habit cycles.
That they're overrated. A soulmate isn't just romantic but platonic.
I have a lot. 1. First date conversations involving religion, politics, family, money, and life goals, especially involving kids, should be normalized. These are the top reasons people break up: divorce, personal values, religion, money, and laws. So these issues should be talked about early and often, preferably before attachment starts. 2. Prenups are something every married couple should have, regardless of assets. No one plans to get divorced before they marry, but one is rarely the same person during a divorce as they were when they got married. A fair prenup that protects both parties is extremely important. 3. You can't be in a healthy romantic relationship with someone on the opposite end of the ideological spectrum, unless both partners are apathetic, shallow when it comes to that sort of thing. Same goes with religion. There's just too much that are related to your worldview that will come to be incompatible when you try to build a life with the other person. 4. Asexuals who are unable to have sex at all should not be in a monogamous relationship with someone with an existing sex drive. No matter what the latter says, not being able to ever have sex again when you are not asexual yourself is too big of a sacrifice to ask of most people. Sure, healthy sex requires compromise, and some asexuals are willing to provide EBOW sex to satisfy their partners. But you can't compromise a hard limit of no sex. That's like someone who wants kids trying to compromise with a partner who doesn't want any. For people with multiple marriages, divorces, I get it. Sometimes things don't work out. But if you're in your third or fourth marriage, there's gotta be something wrong with you. Either you're a bad partner and just shouldn't be married, or you make really bad choices and pick lousy partners. None of these are controversial, lol.
It's okay for couples not to sleep in the same bed or even the same room.
You have the right to not want to date someone because of a physical aspect of theirs. This goes both ways. It's alright to not want to date someone because they're too short or tall, or overweight or underweight. If you're gonna be looking at this person all day, you gotta make sure you like the way they look. This is not accounting for personality, of course, which can throw this metric off entirely.
Aside from thinking that being single is better, how far you plan for the future should be roughly equivalent to how long you've actually been dating. I.e., I wouldn't buy tickets for an event 1 year in the future for a relationship I've been in for 5 months.
Big age gap is hella harmful in most cases. And no, Emily, I am not talking about you elders' parents who met when they were older. I am talking, if the grades you're supposed to be in don't touch, then don't date.
They're not that hard.
Long-distance relationships are not real if you've never met in person. It's straight up delusional.
I apparently get trashed whenever I say online that there's no such thing as polyamory. I believe that it's not psychologically possible for one person to romantically love multiple other people at the same time.
Love doesn't have to come first. I would argue it shouldn't. Clouds your judgment. Should see if you are compatible first. Respect is the most important for me. If someone can learn all about you and respect you for you, then I don't see why love would not follow. Sometimes people are not even sexually attracted at first, even that can follow after. Either way, I think lusting after someone or going head over heels really can cloud your judgment.
You can only work so much on a marriage. There has to be some sort of connection beyond sexual. Don't get me wrong. Marriage is work. But with the wrong person, it won't matter even if you both work at it.
You sacrifice a certain level of independence that you probably had when you were single.
95% of people settle because they aren't secure enough with themselves to be alone.
You don't have to tell your partner everything for a healthy relationship. Obviously, things that affect the relationship should be transparent, but if you were assaulted in the past and work to get over it and can say you're healed, you don't have to open that up to your partner if you don't want to. It's okay to take some things to the grave.
Relationships should be a logical decision, not an emotional one. Love is blind. Find someone who shares your goals and go from there.
Not sure if it's controversial, but second one is slight TMI lol. I would start living with someone even there's even a whiff of it getting more serious. You need to know yourself and the other person and how they work. See what happens when XYZ happens. When I started dating my husband, I went to his house and left when he needed space. Yeah, I know I was a bit extreme lol. Sex on the first date is fine. Honestly, got with my husband before we were even official, as I was living out my wild side, but you know what? All of the bad sex that I had before I met him made me realize what good sex was. And after that first night with him, I was like, whoa. I am keeping this.
Nothing lasts for more than 3 years. If it lasts longer than that, they probably have a child and need to take responsibility in order to steer clear of jail, even though they really don't have feelings for each other anymore. Most people are attracted to confidence or compliance over integrity or honesty, to their great detriment.
Enjoyable sex is an achievement of a healthy relationship, not a requirement for one. I'm not saying that two people should date if they're not attracted to each other. I do think attraction is an obvious requirement, but just that our society is hypersexual and that we tend to let it control our relationships.
Love alone can't hold up a relationship.